What if I told you that the biggest rappers in the game, Drake, Young Thug, and nearly every chart-topping name you've been streaming nonstop, have just been exposed for pulling off the biggest lie in hip-hop history? That's right, we're not talking about leaked tracks, secret beefs, or even hidden ghostwriters. We're talking about streams. Fake ones. Billions of them. For years, fans believed that these rap icons were smashing records, breaking the internet, and leaving the competition in the dust. But now, receipts have surfaced, whispers have turned into screams, and the industry is spiraling out of control. Fans are shocked, labels are panicking, and the rappers themselves. Well, let's just say emotions ran high the moment accusations hit the surface. Picture Drake pacing in his Toronto mansion, shouting at his team. Imagine Young Thug on a call from behind bars, furious that his name is tied to the scandal. And every other rapper, scrambling to save face as secrets threaten to end careers overnight. This isn't just music anymore, it's betrayal, survival, and it's tearing friendships apart. Stay tuned, because what's about to unfold will change how you see hip-hop forever. The first cracks in this massive scandal appeared late one Friday night, when a mysterious Twitter account dropped a thread that shook the music industry to its core. Screenshots, contracts, and leaked emails were posted with one explosive claim. Drake, Young Thug, and countless other rappers weren't just breaking records. They were buying them. At first, people brushed it off as another conspiracy. After all, hip-hop has always been filled with wild rumors. But then a single screenshot began making the rounds, showing what appeared to be Drake's manager wiring huge sums of money to an unknown stream farm company. Fans stared at the numbers, their jaws dropping as they realized these weren't a few $1,000s. This was millions being funneled into a shady operation overseas. Within hours, social media went into meltdown. Hashtags trended worldwide. Fans who had celebrated Drake's record-breaking Billboard streak were now questioning whether it was all smoke and mirrors. Young Thug supporters flooded his page, demanding answers. But the most shocking part? More rappers' names began to surface. The list was longer than anyone expected, and it was only growing. Behind the scenes, chaos erupted. In Toronto, Drake reportedly stormed into a meeting with his team, his voice shaking with rage. How did this get out? Who leaked this? You know what this looks like. One insider claimed he smashed a glass on the table, leaving his crew speechless. For a man who has built his empire on dominance, the thought of being branded a fraud was unbearable. Meanwhile, Young Thug, still dealing with legal troubles, allegedly called his closest friends from jail. According to someone who overheard the conversation, his words were filled with frustration. I'm already fighting for my freedom, and now y'all got my name in this mess? Fake streams? Come on, man. That's not even me. His voice was trembling, not just with anger, but with fear of how the public would react. The betrayal didn't stop there. Other rappers who once shared stages and collaborations with Drake and Thug began pointing fingers. Whispers in the industry suggested that rival camps had known about the scheme for months, but stayed quiet until the perfect moment to strike. Suddenly, old friendships were unraveling. A producer close to the situation claimed, "You don't understand. People who were family are turning on each other overnight. The money, the fame, it's got everyone ready to betray." And fans were heartbroken. Some refused to believe it, defending their idols with passion. Others felt like their loyalty had been played with. One girl went viral crying on Instagram Live saying, "I've been streaming his songs every day. I thought I was helping him make history. But now? Was I just another pawn?" Emotions ran high, and the divide between fans was unlike anything seen before. But the scandal didn't just stay online. Reports claim that record labels held emergency meetings to assess the damage. Executives were panicking, terrified that the entire music business would be exposed. A leaked email from one label head allegedly read, "We must control the narrative. If the truth spreads, streaming numbers across the board will be questioned. This could end us. At the heart of it all, Drake and Young Thug were caught in a storm they couldn't control. Drake's inner circle became suspicious of each other. Accusations flew. One person was allegedly blamed for leaking the receipts, leading to screaming, matches, and even threats. Insiders described the atmosphere as toxic, like a family tearing itself apart. Young Thug, on the other hand, was said to be livid that his name was dragged into something while he was locked away. He reportedly screamed at his team over the phone, saying, "You were supposed to protect me. How could this happen now?" Friends said his trust in his closest allies was shattered, leaving him feeling isolated and betrayed. But just when fans thought the scandal couldn't get any bigger, another twist emerged. A well-known hacker group claimed responsibility for exposing the documents. In a cryptic video posted online, masked figures said, "The truth must come out. The world deserves to know that the charts are a lie and your heroes are not who they say they are." The video ended with a chilling warning: "This is only the beginning." Immediately, speculation ran wild. Who hired the hackers? Was it a rival rapper, bitter about being overshadowed by Drake and Thug? Was it someone from within their own camp, tired of living in the shadows? Or was it bigger than that, a corporate power play to take down the most successful names in rap and rebuild the industry from scratch? In the midst of this chaos, families of the artists were dragged into the spotlight. Drake's mother was reportedly devastated, telling friends she couldn't stand to see her son's reputation torn apart. Young Thug's family members, already under strain due to his legal battles, were left divided. Some believed he was innocent. Others feared the rumors were true. One cousin was even quoted saying, "We don't know who to trust anymore. It feels like everyone is lying." The public was glued to every update, every leak, every statement. Fans demanded Drake go live to address the accusations, but he stayed silent, only fueling more speculation. Young Thug's lawyers hinted that they would release a statement, but days passed with nothing. In the silence, the drama grew louder. What no one expected was that another rapper, once considered an ally to both Drake and Thug, was about to step into the fire. In a shocking Instagram story, he wrote, "Y'all finally seeing what I been saying? Ain't nobody's numbers real." Within minutes, the post was deleted, but the damage was done. The internet exploded, convinced that this insider just confirmed everything as the scandal spiraled. Fans began revisiting old interviews, analyzing lyrics, searching for hidden clues that their favorite rappers had been hinting at this all along. YouTube videos with millions of views claimed to have proof that certain chart-topping songs had manipulated numbers, pointing out suspicious patterns and sudden jumps in streams. The narrative was spinning out of control, and Drake and Thug were running out of time to set the record straight. And then, in one dramatic twist, a former employee of a major streaming service came forward anonymously, in a disguised voice on a podcast. He claimed that he personally helped inflate the numbers of top rappers, saying, "You don't get to the top without playing the game." Everyone's in on it. The labels, the artists, even the platforms. It's not about music anymore. It's about money and control. His words sent shockwaves, because if true, this wasn't just a scandal for Drake and Thug. This was the music industry's darkest secret finally exposed. The question now wasn't just whether Drake and Thug faked their streams. It was bigger, scarier, and more destructive. If every rapper was doing it, what did that mean for the music fans had been consuming all these years? Was everything they believed about success in hip-hop a carefully constructed illusion? As fans demanded answers and industry insiders whispered about who would fall next, one thing became clear: this was only the beginning of the downfall, and the first real confrontation was about to happen behind closed doors, where Drake, Thug's team, and a circle of powerful executives were set to face each other in a meeting that could decide the future of their careers. The room was tense, suffocating with silence as Drake walked into the private boardroom. His face was cold, but his eyes told a different story, anger mixed with fear. Across from him sat two of the biggest label executives, their suits pressed but their nerves unraveling. Young Thug wasn't physically present, but his manager sat in his place, clutching a phone that was connected to Thug on speaker. The weight of the moment pressed down on everyone, and even the air seemed too heavy to breathe. Drake broke the silence first. His voice cut through the room like glass. "I need to know right now, are you people setting me up? Because if my name goes down for this, I swear, it won't just be me that burns." His words dripped with venom, but underneath was desperation. The executives exchanged glances. One finally leaned forward, his tone sharp but shaky. "Look, we all knew about the adjustments, but no one expected it to come out like this. The leak didn't come from us. Someone in your circle, or maybe Thug's, is playing games." Young Thug's voice suddenly erupted from the phone speaker, raw and unfiltered. "Don't you dare put this on me. I'm fighting my own battles. I don't got time to fake streams. If anything, it's y'all labels. You think you slick? But you the ones pulling strings behind closed doors?" The tension was unbearable. Drake's jaw tightened, his hands balled into fists. So what? Now it's my people. My family. I've been loyal for years. If someone in my camp betrayed me, they're finished. You hear me? Finished? His voice cracked with rage, and for a moment, the superstar mask slipped, revealing a man terrified of losing everything he built. The executives tried to calm the storm, insisting that they needed to unite, not fight each other. But the damage was already done. Accusations flew across the table like daggers. Drake accused the label of greed. Thug accused the industry of sabotage. And the label accused the rappers of playing innocent. Outside the boardroom, whispers were spreading like wildfire. Assistants and security guards heard raised voices and relayed the drama to their friends. By the time the meeting ended, half the industry knew that Drake and Thug had clashed with the labels. Fans picked up on the energy too. Within hours, the internet was buzzing with rumors of screaming matches and broken alliances. One insider later revealed that Drake stormed out, slamming the door so hard it rattled the walls. Young Thug's manager left in silence, but the sound of Thug's furious voice shouting through the phone echoed down the hallway, haunting everyone who heard it. Meanwhile, fans began choosing sides. Some declared their loyalty to Drake, saying he was too talented to need fake streams. Others defended Young Thug, insisting the industry was trying to ruin him while he was already vulnerable. But a growing number of people believed neither, convinced that both rappers were guilty. And the whole rap game was a lie. To make matters worse, another leak dropped that very night. This time it was an audio recording of a heated conversation between two anonymous voices. The clip was muffled, but fans swore one of the voices sounded like Drake. In the recording, a man shouted, "I don't care how you do it, I need those numbers up before Friday. I got a record to break." The other voice responded nervously, "We'll make it happen, but it's gonna cost extra." The internet lost its mind. Conspiracy videos multiplied overnight. Some argued the audio was fake, cleverly edited to frame Drake. Others swore it was authentic proof that he had orchestrated the fake streams. Hashtags calling him a fraud trended globally. Young Thug didn't escape the backlash either. Hackers released files showing unusual streaming spikes on his past albums, pointing out times when his numbers jumped by millions in a single night without explanation. Fans who once celebrated those milestones now looked at them with suspicion. Was it ever real? One fan tweeted, "Did we ever really make him number one, or was it just a scam?" The emotional toll was brutal. Insiders said Drake barely slept, pacing his mansion, calling people in the middle of the night, desperate for answers. He reportedly confronted one of his oldest friends, accusing him of being the leak. The confrontation turned ugly, with shouting and tears, ending with Drake kicking the friend out of his house. Young Thug, still locked up, felt betrayed by everyone around him. He allegedly refused to take calls from certain team members, convinced they had sold him out. One close friend said he's breaking down. He doesn't know who to trust, and he feels like the world is laughing at him. But then came the most shocking twist yet. A former associate of Drake, someone who had been close during his early career, came forward in an explosive interview. With a smirk, he said, "Y'all think this just started? Nah, this been going on since day one. You really think he got that big that fast without help? Please, everybody knew. They just didn't care because the money was flowing." The interview went viral instantly. Fans replayed it again and again, dissecting every word. If what he said was true, then the scandal wasn't just about recent hits, it stretched back over a decade. The legacy of one of hip-hop's biggest stars was hanging by a thread. The betrayal cut deep. People who had been part of Drake's journey were now turning against him. The same people who once cheered him on were now cashing in on his downfall. And for Young Thug, the situation was no better. Insiders whispered that even some of his closest collaborators were distancing themselves. Afraid of being dragged down by association, the industry was eating itself alive. What once looked like an empire of untouchable stars was now a battlefield, with everyone pointing fingers and no one willing to take the blame. And then, just as the chaos reached a boiling point, a bombshell announcement hit the internet. A press conference was scheduled for the following week, featuring both Drake and Young Thug's teams, along with top executives from major labels. Rumors spread that the press conference would finally reveal the truth, whether the accusations were lies, or whether hip-hop's biggest names were about to confess to the biggest fraud in music history. The world was on edge. Fans camped out, online, waiting for every leak, every rumor, every scrap of information. Emotions ran high, friendships were tested, families were divided. And the rappers themselves were pushed to their breaking point. And as the day of the press conference drew closer, one question loomed over everyone's mind: would Drake and Young Thug stand united to fight back, or would the world witness their final betrayal of each other on the biggest stage possible? The morning of the press conference felt like the calm before a storm. Outside the downtown hotel where the event was scheduled, hundreds of fans, reporters, and paparazzi gathered, buzzing with nervous energy. Everyone wanted the same thing: answers. The air was thick with tension, as if the entire music industry was about to hold its breath at once. Inside, the atmosphere was even worse. Behind closed doors, Drake sat in a private suite, his head buried in his hands. He hadn't slept in days. His team whispered nervously around him, debating whether he should make a statement of denial or admit to some involvement and blame the system. One advisor leaned in, voice trembling. "If you deny everything, they'll say you're lying. If you admit even a little, they'll crucify you. Either way, you're trapped." Drake's eyes lifted, dark and weary. "Then what's the move? Because I'm not going out there to be humiliated." Across town, Young Thug's manager was on another tense call with him from jail. Thug's voice was raw, heavy with frustration. "I don't care what they say in that press conference. Just make sure they don't put me in the front line. I'm already fighting for my life in court. If they throw this on me, it's over." His manager sighed, torn between protecting him and facing the relentless press. As the hour approached, rumors began flying online. Anonymous insiders leaked that Drake and Thug would appear side by side in solidarity, while others claimed they would throw each other under the bus. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok exploded with theories. One fan wrote, "This is about to be the end of an era. No matter what they say, hip-hop will never be the same." Finally, the moment arrived. The press conference room was packed. Cameras clicked, microphones buzzed, and the energy was electric. The curtains parted, and Drake walked out first, dressed in all black, his expression unreadable. Behind him, Young Thug's manager took a seat, with Thug once again patched in through a speakerphone resting on the table. Flanking them were two label executives, visibly sweating. The silence was deafening until Drake leaned into the microphone. His voice was calm, but every word carried weight. You've all seen the leaks, you've heard the rumors. I came here today to tell you the truth. The crowd leaned forward, eager for the bombshell. Before he could continue, Young Thug's voice crackled through the speaker, interrupting. The truth is, they've been playing with us for years. Y'all act like we wanted this, but the labels, they're the ones who pushed it. They're the ones who made the deals with these so-called farms. Don't put this all on me and Drake, like we the villains. Gasps echoed through the room. Reporters scrambled to write down every word. Drake froze, his jaw tightening. He hadn't expected Thug to go on the offensive like that, and it left him cornered. He finally spoke again, his tone sharper now. Listen, I can't control what people out there say. Work too hard, too long to let my name get dragged. Like this. Have there been things done behind the scenes? Maybe. But don't you dare put it on me like I'm the mastermind. I never asked for fake streams. I don't need that. I don't need that. The executives shifted uncomfortably, realizing they were about to be dragged into the fire. One of them tried to interject, saying, "Let's not jump to conclusions. This is a complicated situation." But the reporters weren't having it. Questions were shouted from every direction. Who paid for the streams? Did Drake approve it? Did Young Thug's camp know about it? Emotions ran high as the press conference spiraled out of control. Fans watching the livestream flooded the comments with disbelief. Some typed furiously, "He's lying," while others defended him, insisting he was being set up. And the fanbase grew sharper, like a fault line ready to crack the whole culture in half. Suddenly, another twist hit in real time. Drake was mid-sentence. Someone hacked into the hotel's projector system. The screens behind him flickered. And then a video began to play. It showed a series of confidential emails, complete with timestamps and signatures. In one, a manager explicitly wrote, "Boost Drake's numbers by 20 million this week. Make sure it looks organic." Another email mentioned Young Thug by name, instructing the stream farm to spike his new album overnight. The room exploded. Reporters screamed, cameras flashed, and Drake's face went pale. Thug's voice roared from the phone speaker. "What the hell is that? I didn't approve nothing." Executives rushed to shut down the projector, but the damage was already done. The receipts were out there, undeniable. Drake stood frozen, staring at the screen as if his world was collapsing in slow motion. His lips trembled as he whispered into the mic, "That's not me. I didn't write that." But the crowd wasn't listening. The betrayal was too real, the evidence too heavy. The press conference dissolved into chaos. Reporters shouted over each other, fans outside screamed, and security rushed to escort Drake out. Thug's voice kept echoing from the phone, furious and desperate, before the call abruptly disconnected. The executives were left at the table, their faces drenched in sweat, unable to stop the storm they had unleashed. Outside, the backlash was immediate. Fans who had once worshipped Drake now flooded social media with betrayal posts. Memes popped up mocking his denials, while others demanded boycotts. Thug's supporters were split. Some defended him, saying the label framed him, while others called him just as guilty. But the most dramatic fallout wasn't public, it was private. Behind the scenes, Drake's relationship with his team completely unraveled. He reportedly accused his manager of forging his approval on contracts, shouting, "You ruined me. You signed my name to this, and now the world thinks I'm a fraud." Insiders claimed the fight turned physical, with security forced to step in. Young Thug wasn't spared either. Word spread that his closest friends were distancing themselves, afraid of the backlash. One longtime collaborator even deleted all photos with him from Instagram. A silent but loud betrayal. Thug was said to be devastated, feeling abandoned. at the moment he needed support the most. And as the dust settled from the disastrous press conference, the hackers released another chilling message online. Their distorted voices said, "You thought that was everything. No, we're only halfway done. More names, more proof, more lies coming soon." The industry froze in fear. More evidence was coming, no one was safe. Fans speculated endlessly about which rapper would be exposed next. Was it the ones who had publicly stayed quiet? Was it the very artists pointing fingers at Drake and Thug? The scandal had gone from being about two rappers to threatening the very foundation of hip-hop itself. And with the hackers promising even more shocking revelations. One thing was certain, the darkest chapter was yet to come. The night after the press conference, the world felt different. The internet was in flames, the music industry was in shock, and both Drake and Young Thug were drowning in the weight of betrayal. Headlines across the globe screamed about the scandal. News anchors used words like fraud, collapse, and historic downfall. Fans who once argued about who was the greatest were now united in disbelief that the entire rap game might be built on lies. Inside his Toronto mansion, Drake sat alone in the dark, the glow of his phone lighting up his face as he scrolled through endless hate comments. Fraud, fake stream king, the words cut deeper than any diss track ever had. His phone buzzed with calls from friends, family, and collaborators, but he ignored most of them. Finally, one message caught his eye. It was from a rapper he had considered a brother for years, someone who had been silent during the chaos. The message was short, sharp, and devastating. "I told you this day would come. You should have listened." Drake threw his phone across the room, smashing it against the wall. Emotions ran high, and he shouted at no one in particular, "Why is everyone turning on me? Where were they when I was building this? Where were they when I was breaking records?" The truth was, he didn't know who was friend and who was enemy anymore. Young Thug, meanwhile, was spiraling in a completely different way. Locked away, he couldn't escape the scandal. The guards teased him, inmates whispered behind his back, and every phone call he made was filled with tension. His family was divided, with some defending him publicly, while others admitted they feared he had played a role in the scandal. One cousin even gave an interview saying, "We love him, but maybe this time he went too far." The family was left divided, and the weight of betrayal broke Thug's spirit even more than another bombshell dropped. The hackers kept their word and released a new set of documents, this time targeting rappers beyond Drake and Thug. Big names, household names, artists who had publicly condemned the scandal were suddenly exposed for the same crime. It was brutal, and fans were stunned. So everybody's fake. One viral tweet read, "Was the entire streaming era a lie?" But buried within those leaks was something even more explosive. Emails and contracts suggested that not only did the labels know about the fake streams, but they had allegedly orchestrated it on a massive scale. The rappers were pawns, the labels were the players, and the fans were the victims. The realization sent shockwaves. The betrayal wasn't just from the artists, it was from the entire machine yet. The focus remained on Drake and Thug, the faces of the scandal. The public demanded answers, apologies, something to make sense of the chaos. Instead, what they got was even more drama. Rumors surfaced that Drake was preparing to cut ties with his longtime manager, blaming him for forging signatures and making backdoor deals. Insiders claimed Drake shouted during a meeting, "You're done. I'll ever speak my name again." The split rocked the industry, as this manager had been by Drake's side since the beginning. Fans were shocked, some siding with Drake, others accusing him of scapegoating. Young Thug's circle fractured even worse. Close friends who had visited him every week suddenly disappeared, fearing association with the scandal. Thug reportedly broke down during a phone call, saying, "They left me. Everybody left me. I ain't got nobody." The betrayal was heartbreaking, leaving him isolated at the darkest point of his life. And just when it seemed things couldn't get worse, another twist landed. A former hacker turned whistleblower revealed in an anonymous interview that the leaks weren't random, they had been paid for. Someone, somewhere, had hired the hacker group to target Drake, Thug, and others. But who? The internet erupted with theories. Some pointed fingers at rival rappers, suggesting bitter enemies had paid to expose the scandal. Others believed disgruntled label insiders wanted revenge. The most chilling theory, though, was that it came from within Drake's and Thug's own camp's friends turned traitors. Family turned enemies. The betrayal theme deepened when a shocking video surfaced of a former collaborator, once part of Drake's inner circle, laughing during a podcast interview. You think I'm surprised? Nah, we've been doing this. I just decided to walk away before it blew up. Now look at him, drowning. Couldn't happen to a better guy. The clip went viral, and fans couldn't believe the coldness of someone who had once been seen as family. For Young Thug, the blow was even more personal. One of his closest friends gave an interview saying, "Look, I love him, but the truth is the truth. Numbers don't lie. If you play the game, you've got to accept the consequences." Fans were stunned at the public betrayal, and Thug's voice cracked when he heard the clip, whispering to a friend on the phone, "I don't even recognize them anymore." The scandal was no longer just about fake streams. It was about loyalty, betrayal, and the collapse of friendships that once seemed unbreakable. The drama had reached a fever pitch, with emotions running so high that fans began speculating whether either Drake or Thug would ever return to music. Then, in a final desperate move, Drake reportedly called Young Thug directly. The conversation was described by an insider as tense, heartbreaking, and filled with raw emotion. Drake's voice shook as he said, "They're tearing us apart. They want us to turn on each other. I don't even know if you believe me anymore, but I never wanted this." Thug, after a long pause, replied quietly, "I don't know who to believe, but I know this: none of us are walking out of this clean." The call ended with silence, leaving their friendship hanging by a thread. As the weeks passed, the scandal refused to die. Documentaries were announced, podcasts dissected every leak, and fans continued to argue online. Some forgave, some condemned, but everyone agreed the hip-hop world would never look the same again in the end. The truth became less important than the drama itself. The betrayal, the leaks, the screaming matches, the divided families, these became the story. And for Drake, Young Thug, and every rapper whose name had been dragged through the mud, the damage was irreversible. Whether innocent or guilty, they were branded forever. And as the hackers released their final message, this was never about destroying your idols. It was about showing you the truth. The industry you worship is built on lies. The world realized that hip-hop had entered a new era, one where fans would never trust numbers again, and one where the wounds of betrayal might never heal. And so here we are, standing at the edge of one of the wildest scandals hip-hop has ever seen. Drake, Young Thug, and nearly every rapper whose name dominated the charts now find themselves under a cloud of suspicion. Their legacy scarred by whispers of fake streams, betrayal, and lies. Families torn apart, friendships shattered, fans divided. It feels less like the music industry and more like a never-ending reality show. The truth? Maybe we'll never know the full story. Maybe Drake really was betrayed by those closest to him. Maybe Young Thug was just a pawn while locked away. Maybe the labels were the true masterminds all along, pulling strings and buying numbers to keep the machine running. Or maybe, just maybe, everyone had a hand in this mess. But here's what we do know: fans are left questioning everything. Every plaque, every #1 hit, every so-called record-breaking moment now feels tainted. The trust between artists and listeners has been cracked wide open. And that's the real tragedy of this scandal. The question now is, what happens next? Will Drake and Young Thug find a way to rebuild their images? Or will this be the beginning of their downfall. Will the industry clean up its act, or will the lies keep piling up under brighter lights? Only time will tell, and you know we'll be here to break down every twist and turn. So now it's your turn. What do you think? Were the rappers victims of a corrupt system, or were they willing participants in the biggest fraud hip-hop has ever seen? Drop your thoughts in the comments because we want to hear from you. If you want more shocking stories like this, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on ththose notifications because, trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.